Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Black Male Podcast. I'm your host, AP, and today's show is going to be on manipulation. Now, we're going to define the word manipulation, but I first want everyone to really think about the first time that they realize that they've been manipulated by somebody, or the first time they've noticed that they have possibly manipulated someone. And it's not a good feeling, it's a very unsettling feeling. But the main thing is when we are on the other side of that, when we have been manipulated and we realize that we have been taken advantage of, that takes a certain thing out of us. It also makes us feel a certain way about ourselves. And then we start to second guess who we are as a person. But when we're going to deep dive into this situation and into this context, we're going to find out it's not really about you, it's about that other person. So I did a live Instagram yesterday, and I used a saying that I came across. And the saying is, the first time you're a victim, any time after that, you're a volunteer. And the reason why I thought that was so touching and fitting for this situation and for this concept is because the first time that you see something, of course, someone's going to take advantage of you, and you really not expecting or understanding that that person's going to do that because you have let down certain guards to allow certain people around, and probably because you've really been through a really traumatic time in your life, and you really dealt with some things that you never thought you were going to come out of, but you made it out of there. And then you begin to trust someone again, and next thing you know, they're doing the same thing in a different way that, made you feel differently about yourself. So you start second guessing yourself, and you then start wondering if it's just you, and then you start making yourself feel like you're not worthy. But it has nothing to do with you. It has something to do with the person that is the manipulator. And someone who's a manipulator has a lot of deep, unsettling things that are wrong with them. Now let's think about it. Let's think about someone who has manipulated you. It could be any type of situation. Okay, it could be work, it could be personal. Think about a situation when you have been manipulated. And then think about the times that you've played in your mind about that time you've been manipulated. How did you feel in those times? Did you feel like you played a hand in that? Did you also feel like you had something to do with it? Or did you just brush it off at the time because you felt like it was nothing? And not until someone pointed it out to you or you realized deep down because the manipulation had just exceeded certain boundaries that you have exposed and expected, and now that person has now turned into someone you dislike greatly. So we're going to talk about that today. But the reason why I decided to talk about this today is because in our lives we do face people who are master manipulators. And those folks feel like they're getting a step up, and we feel like they are getting a head up and everything. And it may seem like they are, but deep down inside they're not, because somewhere down in their existence, someone is struggling and someone is bearing the negative results for their actions. Okay? I know someone that is doing that right now. I know a couple of people that are doing that right now. Now, I'm not going to judge them, and that's not my job to judge them, but I know that deep down inside that they feel like they're doing what's right by them because they want to be successful. Now, we determine our own level of success, and success is not determined by what someone else thinks it is for me, is what I determine it is for myself. Now, when some folks want to climb the ladder and they want to go up and they want to do this and they want to do that, some people will trample on other people just to get there. They will use folks to a certain degree because they have studied people's tendencies to see what they can and what they cannot get from them. Now, that's a very deep, dark, unsettling person. And if you know someone like that, you're going to think about what I just said, and you're also going to go back and replay some times where you allowed some things to happen that you might not have let happen in any other circumstance. So let's jump into it. Okay. So like anything, when we want to talk about something, we have to have a definition, right? Because we want a full understanding about what it is that we're talking about so we can be better when these situations come up. Okay? All right. So, first of all, the term manipulation, okay? It's the action of manipulating something in a skillful manner. Now, the dictionary says it's a skillful manner. What that means is basically it's deceptive. I can make you feel and believe that you're greatest at something or you're the best at something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are. It just means that you're good at what you're doing. And some people that are master manipulators are just horrible people deep down inside because they are facing some stuff and they're dealing with some stuff that they're not ready to really adhere to. They're not happy with themselves. There's something in their past that's plaguing them from being a better person. And because someone has hurt them or someone has made them feel less than worthy, it's easy for them to take that pain and deliver that pain in another bucket. And what that means is I'm going to deliver this unsettling feeling and this pain to someone else because why not? It happened to me and nobody helped me. So it's your fault. You should be paying attention. But a lot of people don't see it that way. Now, for those people that are out there and they feel that they want to do that and they are being very manipulative in certain aspects, they're going to get their just due. It's not going to be on our time, and sometimes it's not going to be in the manner in which we see it. But someone around them in their circle is going to feel the negative effect of what they're doing. And because that person is so full of themselves, they're not going to really realize what's happening. They're going to play it off and say, oh, if only this person did this or if this person did that. They're not going to see it's a causation of their actions. Now, if they really looked at their actions and they really were contrite about the things that they're doing, then they will see things in a different way, but they're not there yet. And the reason why they're not there yet is because they're still hurting. And the reason why they're hurting is because they haven't addressed the things that have put them in that place where they are right now. So, in a skillful manner, I say deceitful. And the reason why I say deceitful, because the idea of manipulating somebody is so that you can get a gain of some sort at someone else's expense. Now, I can tell you that I've been manipulated. Everybody can tell you that they've been manipulated. And in the manner in which they were manipulated, it could be financial, it could be sexual, it could be, in a workplace, it could be anywhere. But when you realize that you have been manipulated, how did you feel when you finally realized that someone is taking advantage of me, that I really gave, a real good idea of who I am? I allowed someone to do this to me. Now, there's people who continue to let people do that to them, and now they're volunteering for negative things that happen to them all the time or for them to be mistreated. Now, we can say that some people do that in certain relationships because it's a matter of power. How do I gain and how do I acquire power? Because I want to be able to rule and oversee certain things. See, a lot of people who call themselves leaders are not true leaders, because to be a true leader, you have a key understanding of the people that are around you. Now, if I am in charge of about 10 people, I need to know their strengths and their weaknesses, which also means I know my limitation of how I need to go about, making these people feel valued. If I don't breathe life and give value to those folks, me as a leader, I am inadequate to be a leader. And that means when someone else comes in and they step in my place, they're able to get something out of that person that I never was able to do that, because I'm not aligned with myself and I'm not being trustworthy. I'm not being honorable in the way that I'm going about things, and I'm also not being truthful to myself. Now, those people who do that, we always see at the top, right? But that's not the case, because as hard as it takes for someone to climb the ladder, and as much as they do to other people, they're going to meet those same people when they start sliding down that ladder as well, because everybody's going to have their peak and valley, especially those who do wrong by other people. Now, I want you to take a minute to really think about the last time you have realized somebody manipulated you. And I really want you to think about what place it put you in. I want you to think about how it affected you. I also want you to think about what it took for you to realize that you're not going to allow anyone else to do that to you. That's what I want you to focus on. I want you to be able to focus on what it's going to take for me to no longer allow people and for me to catch these cues and these clues and these tactics that people are using and the words that they use in order to get their gain, so that when it comes to me and I'm able to acknowledge certain things, my response is going to be completely different than they expect. Because when someone cannot manipulate you, they will try to wrangle in other people to have a bad idea about you because they were not effective. And it's easy for some people to go along with foolishness, as I call it, because it sounds good or it must be true because it came from a particular person. But I've said this a couple times to a couple different people, and I want you to really listen to this next statement. Sometimes when we hear information, we need to consider the source. And the source may not be trustworthy. That source may be very vindictive. That source may have a lot of negative things around them. But somehow, some way, it seems like people listen to them. Do they listen to them for their own selfish gain as well? Do they feel like if they snuggle up or they listen to that person is going to help them? And here is the worst idea about that. Manipulators care about no one but themselves. They only care about the things that they need. They don't really care about anybody else, because if they really cared about someone else, they would bring you along with them. They wouldn't treat people the way that they do. But the reason why they treat the people the way that they do is because they only care about themselves. That's where the term gaslighting came from. Everyone wants to use this term gaslighting. That's where it came from. It came from someone who's a manipulator. Because I want you to believe and think one thing while I'm doing a whole completely thing. That's me telling you to look right when I'm going left. That's exactly what that means. I'm going to fill you up and make you feel valued when I really am just playing you like a puppet. And those who want to be a puppet master like Geppetto, if you know Pinocchio, they think that they have ultimate reign. But as soon as Pinocchio felt like he had some sort of life and he can think on his own, he lived a different life. He didn't follow certain things that Geppetto wanted for him. Geppetto thought because he was, the maker, that Pinocchio would just do everything that he wanted him to do, until he decided that I wasn't going to do that anymore. The same idea. I used another example yesterday on the Instagram Live about the song that Kanye West used. Okay, that song was a gospel song that he remixed, and the idea is that I'm going to take the idea of a gospel song because I know it's going to touch people in a certain way, but I want people to go ahead and listen to what I'm saying, and it's going to hit you in a completely different way, because all those words that was in that song had nothing to do with anything uplifting. It didn't. It was self-fulfilling. And a lot of people have a lot of self-fulfilling things about them that they really need to test and they really need to have checked, because those that are in that position, they need to talk to somebody. Manipulators don't have anybody that they trust. They can't trust anybody. The reason why is they're not trustworthy. They don't have the idea where I feel like I can go ahead and talk to somebody. They make people feel like they're trustworthy. They make people feel like they can be trusted. They also will spew certain things about people, and they will have certain people that will believe it, because those folks are foolish too. And the reason why I say that they're foolish is a pair of lips will tell you anything. But if I look at the person's character that they're talking about, and if I also look at the source of where it's coming from, especially when I know that person has talked bad about me myself, I need to really look at this and not be a soothsayer and run and tell everything from there. We haven't decided that we ourselves will step away from people like that, because what's good and what's juicy is awesome. It must be right because I don't know anything about this person, and because you know this person, or you're telling people you know this person from A to Z, which nobody truly knows anybody unless they open the door and allow you to be in their life. Okay? They need to consider the source. All right? So we're going to move forward from there. Okay? I'm going to read you something really fast. Okay? Manipulative behavior occurs when a person uses controlling and harmful behaviors to avoid responsibility, conceal their true intentions, or cause doubt and confusion. Manipulative tactics such as gaslighting, lying, blaming, criticizing, and shaming can damage a person's psychological well-being. Now, if you've been in that situation, like I've been in that situation before, you will replay that in your head, and it will frustrate you so bad to your core, because you will be, you garner yourself as a very honorable person. Even if you're trying, you wouldn't think that you would do that to someone. And it would take someone very low and very dirty to do that to somebody. And then the outset is you feel like, why would somebody waste their time to do that? It's because they're not worthy of anything. And like I said, sometimes it feels like those folks get everything, but the people around them are suffering. Okay? That's something that my mom told me a long time ago when I was a kid. She told me to be careful how I treat people, because I myself may not reap the benefits or the consequence of my actions, but someone around me, they will. And unless I understand that and I know that, then I'm not going to pay attention. I'm going to say, oh, well, it's that person. Oh, well, if they weren't there, this wouldn't have happened. Or if they would have just did this. No, it's a result of what I've done. You know, church people will say the devil will get to the people that's closest to you if he can't get to you. Now, if you've gone to church before and you grew up in a predominantly black church, they'll tell you that. That's an old term, okay? But it's true. That is a fact. You think about someone who has manipulated someone, or someone that has manipulated you, and you feel like that person has not gotten the justice that you sought after, or you thought they should get, but someone around them got it instead. Now I'm going to let you think about that for a second. Someone around them received what they dished out. It's not good. And the folks that do that, they think that, oh, well, that's them. Oh, well, I'll blame this. Oh, well, it's got to be them. No, it's because of you. It's because you have done some things and you set up some situations that you should not have. If I myself have gone on and I go out in this world and I say that I want to be X, Y, and Z, best person in the world, and I go ahead and step on all kind of people to get to the top, and I shuck and jive and I make deals and I turn people against each other, and I do everything, when it's time for me to get my just due or what I think I'm going to get, I'm not going to be happy. And the reason why I'm not going to be happy is because everything that I set out to do and everything I set out to be won't happen. It's like I'm always looking over my shoulder. I'm always second guessing myself. I'm always asking other people to value or to validate my foolishness. And those that come around me to validate that foolishness is just like me. Because I'm only going to bring the people around me that are either yes men, or I'm only going to bring the people around me that I know that I have some sort of control over, and they depend on me for something. I'm manipulating them too. People manipulate people for sexual reasons too. Now let's talk about that. If you're in a situation and you are being manipulated sexually, please get out of it. You may not think that you're doing it right now, but I want you to really look at the situation that you're in. And I really want you to look at and see if that person really cares about you, or if that person is just using you. And the reason why you would know that if they're using you is the words that they use when they're talking to you. Okay? It's the actions that they're showing. Okay? It doesn't take much to hold somebody's hand. It doesn't take much to put your arm around somebody. It doesn't take much to do something nice for somebody if you care about them. If you don't care about them, it's going to be like a chore. They're not going to want to do it because they have no interest in doing it. Now, I don't particularly like Tyler Perry movies. I'm going to tell you right now because I feel like they're all the same. And that's my opinion. And if you have a question about it, you can text me about it. And that's it. I'm going to tell you how I feel. I don't particularly like his movies. I'm going to tell you why. It's the same storyline. Okay? All the men in all the movies are bad. What is the narrative that he's trying to tell? If someone were to really listen to that and look into that, invest some time and to see what's going on, that may tell you a little bit about his past. They may tell you a little bit about some things that he's experienced as a kid. Maybe some things he's experienced as adolescent or even in his young adult age. Why is that narrative being shared? Now, he's a very successful black man, but I feel that there's some other stories that he can talk about. Okay? And that's my opinion. And I'm entitled to that opinion. But I really want you to look at what you're feeding into. I really want you to look at what you are having in the forefront, something that you are feeling that's good. Right? The only movie that I think that he did really well is The Family That Prays. And I'm going to tell you why. It was a completely different movie. But in all his movies, in this, especially this last one, the black man is so violent. He's an alcoholic. He's a woman beater. He's a cheater. He's all these things, right? And miraculously, the woman finds her bearing, and then she fights back, and either the man dies or the man goes to jail. So, to me, as a thinking person, and the way that I see things, I'm going to think that he's telling us about his past or about his life, which that very well may be, right? Without telling us exactly. Now, is he manipulating everybody, or is he playing on the emotions of single women, not just black women, because black women ain't the only single women out there, okay? I don't know what everybody want to pass that narrative, but black women are not the only single women out there. But the narrative is, if you're going through all this negative stuff and you have been downtrodden and you've been beaten, all this other stuff, you can make your way out of that. So there's a way that can be communicated, that can be turned around, and that can be shown forth. It doesn't have to be in every time you get a chance to beat that in someone's head, because eventually it's going to fall on deaf ears. You can only do that so many times before people have no interest in watching that. Just as a manipulator, that's how you become masterful in understanding and seeing things in a different way where people didn't know that you were paying attention. I'm going to give you a little personal story about mine. So I was with someone before, and that person tried to manipulate me in a financial way. Okay? And the way that they did was they played it as if they never had any money, or they could never do things and things never turned out to be the way that they want them to be. And until I started putting two and two together, because at that time I was just like, oh, okay, you must need it if you're asking for it, because, you know, I felt like we were building something at one time, and we weren't, because I saw it in one way, and she didn't see that the same way. So I got played, right? But when I realized what was going on, I said, that's not going to happen anymore. So the way that I went around things and the way I went about things became different. Wasn't malicious, wasn't aggressive, wasn't nasty. I just basically said, this isn't going to happen anymore. My responses to that person was completely different, because now I'm seeing things in a different way. I'm seeing things the way I need to, but I'm also seeing things very clear, because sometimes you can only hit me in the face with a brick and I don't say ouch. How many times do you sit there and you say, oh, okay, that's nothing, or you make excuses for someone because you feel like you want to be with them? That means that that person has a hold on you. That's like a pimp and a prostitute. The pimp's idea is to break a person down, break a woman down, all the way down. This is a pimp's turn to their brake pads. If I got a mind, I got a body. If I got her mind, I got her body. That's a master manipulator. Does anybody know any pimps out there? They'll probably tell you the same thing. I'm trying to tell you the game. Their game is, if I can break your mind, I can get your body because your spirit is gone. Now, for those that know a manipulator, their goal is to play chess with your mind. Their goal is to get you out of yourself. Their goal is to get you from being the person that you are. So if I have you and I have you running after me, and I know you're running after me, I can go tell anybody anything and they'll fall right in my hands because I feel like I got it just how I want it. Until that person realizes that they don't have it like they thought they did, because you're doing something completely different that they never thought that you would be doing for your benefit, which is something that you need to be doing. And that's a key thing, because we will get manipulated for different reasons at different times in our lives. For some of us who wants to climb that corporate ladder, we get manipulated because someone will overwork you. They'll work you like a dog. I'm not going to use the term work you as a slave because that is so, I have a fundamental issue with people who say that. And the reason why I say this, because our ancestors lived through a horrible existence that no one should ever wish on anyone. So out of respect for them, I would never say anything like that. And I would ask that other people not use that term as well. Okay. But what I will say is they work you like a dog. They'll work you like a donkey. And all a donkey does is a worker on a farm. And all they're supposed to do is do the grunt work. That's why they call him an ass, because you're doing the grunt work. Okay. Now, if someone says, oh, they use the word ass in the Bible, there's different contexts, different meanings for different situations. Okay. We're not in those times that exist in the Bible. This is a completely different time. I need you to understand and listen to what I'm telling you. Now, the donkey is the overwork on the farm. The dog does the hunting, goes with the hunter, and they bring back the stuff that they hunt, correct? But the dog on the farm surveys everything. If you know someone on a farm, if you know someone who has a farm, you think about a shepherd with the sheep or the goats. The dogs keep the predators away. That's their job. And if a dog doesn't do their job, what does the owner do? They chastise them, right? They punish them. If a manipulator can't get what they want from you, what are they going to do to you? They're going to chastise you, right? Mentally and emotionally. They're going to make you feel like you're not worthy. They're going to talk to you in some kind of funky way that you would never think imaginable. And they will think it's okay. They will think that's all right. Well, why not? I'll talk to them and walk around as if nothing happened. As if nothing happens. I won't break this down into races. I won't break this down into genders. I'm going to break this down into this point. A manipulator is someone who has no power, no guarantee, no bearing about themselves, that wants to be appreciated and noticed by someone else. They also want to invoke fear into other people to get what they want. They want to be masterful in the things that they have, but they also want to be celebrated for the things that they have achieved, because deep down inside, they've never received those things. And if I haven't received those things myself, and I know how crappy that feels, I will stop at nothing to make you feel that way too, because misery loves company. And the misery that I feel day by day, I'm going to give to you. And that's why some people, they can't let certain things go. They harp on it. They make things up because they can't go to bed with just letting things be. They allow things to consume them. And when they consume them, they become it. Because the manipulator's language is lying. Right? And they lie so much that it becomes their own language. And those lies, they believe them so much, they becomes their reality. And they will do everything to let you believe that those lies and their reality is yours too. And it's what you should do. And it's what other people think. Well, if you do this, it's because this is what other people see. That's not true. How can you speak for someone I don't even know? How can, even if I know them and they know me, how can you speak for them? Allow them to talk to me so I can get a clearer understanding. But they're skillful in their words, and they're also skillful in their tactics because they have learned a deceptive way to live life. But it doesn't mean they're living the best life. They're just trying to destroy everything around them. Okay? All right. Let's move on. Okay? I got a little bit more for you. All right? There's 7 parts of a manipulator. 7 parts. Okay? Now I'm going to read them to you. The first part is guilt tripping. Okay? The next part is the victim card. The third part is the silent treatment. Most manipulators like the silent treatment because they like to make it seem like, oh, it's your fault. And because you didn't do what I asked you to do, now I can't talk to you. Now I want you to crawl and beg and grovel and come back to me and say you'll never do it again. And I have power over you. I have power over you. If you do that, that means I'm a masterful puppet master and I can get you to do anything I want you to. But some people don't see it that way. They said if I come and I explain myself, then everything will be forgiven. They'll never forgive you. A manipulator will never forget you. They'll just find a different way to manipulate you. Right? Because now they know you see something. Now they're just going to try it a different way. Okay? The next one is lying. They're good at lying because they want to draw people in. They want to know that they want to let other people know that they have the upper hand on you. And because of your title, your position, they want to make it seem like you're the best person for the information. Not true. Not true at all. Not true at all. Because they can't even believe themselves. They are masterful in the use of flattery. They'll lie to people and tell people that they're better than what they are. Because their job is to get people to believe something that they're really not. They're going to anoint certain people certain things that they don't deserve. They're also going to shoo other people that should not be that way. They have no morals. They have no tact. They have no backbone. That's what manipulators do. Okay? They like to one up other people. Right? So if you do something good, I don't want you to have all the clout. I want some of that clout too. Look at me, look what I did. Oh, I'm going to overwork you. I'm going to outwork you. And then I'm going to talk about it over and over and over again because I want you to see me as a success. Because I didn't get that. I didn't get that when I was younger. I want to get that now. In my professional life, I want to get that. In my personal life, I want to get that. In my married life, I want to get it. You know, they want to do that, right? Some manipulators kiss up to their superior, or they'll kiss up to other people that they feel are their superior so they can be on equal grounding. But they won't get it. The reason why is because the people that are above them, they see the foolishness that they have going on around them. Now, they may protect them and cover them ever so long, but eventually it's going to wear out. It's going to rear its ugly head because someone else is seeing the foolishness that they're doing and they're not buying it. Right? And they like to push buttons. Now, those who like to push buttons of other people should be ashamed of themselves because you should have more things to do with your time than try to evoke certain things out of certain people. And the reason why you should be doing that is because Why are you wasting your time with someone that you really should not be doing certain things with or to? But those people don't get it. Those people think that they have the right to do those things. They don't. But when you take back that power from people, they don't like it. And then when you give them that same energy, they don't like it. And then when you turn around and they think they know things about you, they have no idea because they thought giving you the silent treatment was one thing, but you flipped it on them and you accepted that silent treatment and you walking with your chest high, your chest out and your head high because they can't break you down because you're not giving them information because they want to use that information to their benefit. They start doing other things to you. They want to second guess you. They want to make it seem like you're the one with the issue. You're the one with the problem when it's really that person themselves. See, a manipulator is not going to be honest about nothing because they can't be honest because they're not honest with themselves. They cannot be honest with themselves because they're master liars. They're master liars. The devil was a master liar. Whatever religion you believe in, the devil's a master liar. Masterful at lying. So masterful to get angels out of heaven to go with him. Masterful. Right? You say he's masterful in having Eve give Adam the apple. Masterful. Deceitful. Right? That's why a lot of people don't like snakes. That's why they call a lot of people that are manipulative snakes. Because you're not trustworthy. You can't be trusted. Okay? Let's get to that point to where we can recognize certain things from certain people. I know sometimes we want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but if we listen to the words that they use and we see the actions that they have going and we're really invested in the things that's going on around us, we will catch on to things. And then when we catch on to those things, we're better off for it because those people think that they have a leg up on us and they think they can get to us, but they are far away from us. Okay? So I'm going to leave you with this. Anytime that you feel that someone is manipulating you, and anytime you feel that you cannot handle it, I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to take some time to yourself, but I also want you to look at something and do something that makes you happy. Whatever it is that makes you happy. And I really want you to sit there and think about that situation where that person has manipulated you or tried to manipulate you and how that's not going to happen again. Because the idea is not to allow certain people that think they have the opportunity to or the chance to take advantage of me, even when they don't know that I know what they're doing. That's the key. A manipulator cannot handle it when someone catches on to what they're doing because they want power. They want to control the narrative. They also want to be masterful and skillful in their tactics because if they're masterful and skillful in their tactics, they'll have a little flock and a following of people that will think that they have everything in control, but inside of them, they're broken, they're bruised, they're confused, and they're torn down. And they really need to seek out help themselves. That's our show for today. I'm going to upload the show a little bit later, but thank you for joining me on today's show about manipulation. The next show will be on addiction. This is AP for the Black Male Podcast. And as always, be good to yourself and be good to others. Peace.